So folks, let's go on in here and see what a historic 1890s saloon might look like. What I want to talk about first is this Bison mounted skull over here on the wall. That dates to about 1888, 1889, and was shot and taken to Rochester, New York, where it was mounted. There's a plaque on the back of the mount that tells that. And what's interesting is in 1850, 1860, there were estimated to be 50 to 60 million bison in this country. By 1890, we were down to about 500. That's all that were left. And they were shot for their hides, etc. That was the staple of the American Indian. And we virtually destroyed their staple. So anyway, this is a female, and I'm sure she could tell a lot of stories about what went on in that St. Louis saloon. Today we have about 342,000, which only 15,000 in the wild. The wild ones are like in Yellowstone National Park and Custer State Park in South Dakota, etc. Okay, so we'll move on along here and go over this way. The pool table here was my grandfather's. It dates to 1908. It originally had been a snooker table when my grandfather bought the house. And we've talked about the grocery store, or will, that we have set up over here. Anyway, that grocery store was established in 1922, but it had been an 1880 store they bought out. Well, anyway, he bought the home in 1924, I believe, and this pool table was in there. And it had been a snooker table and converted to a regulation pool table at some time. And that's up here on it's the counting system for snooker that was in my grandfather's room. And if you notice, the old lights up here are knob and tube wiring, which was exposed wiring, and was used into the 1920s, something like that. So, with the old light bulbs. This is a 1907 light bulb. They had carbon elements, and they'll burn forever. If you don't click it with your finger or something and just left it on, it will never burn out. Never burn out. I guess while electricity goes off, I don't know how you explain that one. But anyway, today we have tungsten in our light bulbs. So I don't know what we got in these newer light bulbs, these spirals and things like that. But anyway, tungsten, and they just won't burn as long as the carbon. Okay, so what I want to talk about now is this historic bar up here. This historic bar was built in 1858, and it was on the Nevada-Utah border, and was associated with the Pony Express and stage route between Salt Lake City and Ely, Nevada. And we had to do a lot of restoration on it. It was outside of the old building, and the reason the Pony Express, remember the Pony Express carried the mail to California from St. Joe, Missouri for 19 months. And think about this, you can't complain about your postage because back with the Pony Express, it was $5 for a half ounce. So we can't complain about our postage today. By the end of the 19 months, it is down to $1 for a half ounce. Remember, a lot of those pony riders were killed by Indians and everything like that. Well, they would often use the stage stops, the stagecoach stops, because there were already corrals there. And this was the case with this one. They didn't have to build a separate station for the pony riders to stop to change horses. They could use the way station from the stage company. And so anyway, see, if Grandma died in California, how are you going to get word back east, out west, that Grandma died? There was only one way before the Pony Express, and that was to take the message around South America, up to San Francisco, what have you. When the Pony Express did it, you could get word within about 14, I don't remember how many days, 10 to 14 days, you could get the message that Grandma died by pony rider. And then in 1869, the telegraph got completed. No, yeah, 1869, and then the Transcontinental Railroad came shortly after, and that just changed the West. It brought it into a more modern era, you know, with communication and transportation, settlement, all of that sort of thing. So anyway, and over here we have an electronic violin that will play, but it has 44 miles of wire in it, uses spark. It has 3 motors in it, an AC-DC converter in the bottom, and a roll motor and a bow motor. It's made by the Mill Slot Machine Company, which, and it's very intricate, and there are very few of them still in existence. I've seen a couple of them on eBay starting at $150,000. So a lot of people say this is worth the price of admission just to listen to that machine. So over this way here, we have a couple of games of chance, and I want to point out this water cooler here. This is quite interesting. It's an 1870s water cooler, so you could get water. And what it is, it has a donut-sized or donut-looking tray in there filled with gravel around the outside, and you pour the water from the creek where all the guys went to the bathroom. You pour that into the gravel and it filters down and gets the pollywogs and stuff out, and then you have a clear tank of water down below. It's kind of ingenious, but I don't know if it would pass inspection or sanitary conditions today. So we can walk around over here, and this is a very rare Western Electric horse race, and there are 6 known in the country or in the world, and you would bet on which horse would come in first. And it uses bellows like the old player pianos that your grandma had in her house that you pedaled. This one's electrified, and so anyway, you would bet for drinks and etc. here. So okay, this was a social place, the social place for men. So you would commonly have 1 or more nude paintings on the wall. You have to understand that when we have youngsters and school groups in here, we pull down another painting. This is actually painted by a local artist of the train coming into Ridgeway. And on down here, then we have a roulette table from Idaho. Very fragile, so we ask people not to touch. So let's go on.